Hello, ladies. Welcome back to Radiant Beauty Summit. We are here to talk today about stress, how to relieve it, and how to find that joy that we are all seeking in our lives. And I'm here today with a phenomenal woman. She is a speaker, she is a coach, she is a certified holistic living and wellness expert. She is a life coach for women over 40. She is a founder of Mind, Body, and Spirit Health and Wellness Corporation. It's called PraiseWorks Health and Wellness. She's a CEO and the founder of that. And you can also find her on the radio or through different webinars she has. She has digital magazine, and I'm reading it from the list because there's no way I would ever remember all that. So podcasts, wellness retreats for women. That sounds yummy. Ebooks, DVD. Oh my, the list goes on and on and on. Welcome to the summit, Lynnis. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Yes, you look gorgeous. You look very, very radiant to me. I love your colors. I love your blue and your jewelry and everything is just really pretty about you. So please tell us, because I know that at one point in your life, you decided to leave a very successful corporate career and you decided to do a complete 180 and become a coach, like self-employed coach for women. What caused that change and what inspired you to do that?
Well, first of all, Linka, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this wonderful summit. It's so great to be able to reach out to women all over the world, to be able to share information that we hope is going to help them to be well in their mind, body, and spirit, and help them to be radiant as well. I was working in corporate America for over 25 years, and I kind of, worked my way up the corporate ladder and did quite well. And I had an epiphany. There was something that happened one day that caused me to stop and think and really reassess what I was doing. I woke up one morning and I could not stop crying. I just couldn't stop crying. There was nothing really significantly that had changed that I could remember right then and there, but I found out later through therapy and a lot of other diving deep and, working on my own personal development, that there was just an accumulation of occurrences, small traumas, that over time, my emotional closet just got too full. And I decided that, I just got to the point where I couldn't stop expressing how I was feeling. I couldn't stop, and that was coming out in the form of tears. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor took a look at everything that was going on with me at the time. And he said, you appear to be normal in terms of that. He said, but I want you to speak to some of the counselors. I spoke to the counselor, the social worker there, and they all decided that I was exhausted and I needed to take some time off. So that's what I did. I took some time off. And during that time, I did a lot of self-reflection and realized that what I needed more time. So I took a sabbatical. I worked for a large HMO. And in the medical field, it used to be that you could take sabbaticals, you take time off, and your position would still be there. So that's what I did, and I really did some exploring. And one of the things I found out was that I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And initially, they put me on medication. And the more research I did, the more I realized I didn't want to be on that medication anymore. So I decided to find holistic ways to rid myself of that anxiety. And as I got more clear in terms of what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do, that's when I decided not to go back to corporate America. When the day that I was due to go back, I called my boss and said, I won't be back. And that was a year after my incident of not being able to stop crying. And I knew I wanted to do something with wellness. I was a dancer for a couple of years after graduating from college. And I decided that I didn't want to dance. What I decided was I didn't want to dance professionally, but I wanted to open up a dance studio. So I did that, a dance studio for women over 40. I did that. I had women come to the dance studio. Now I was teaching ballet. And I quickly found out, after a few weeks, that these women needed so much more than that. I had women that were just recovering from breast cancer. They had high blood pressure. They were obese. Some of them had back problems. Others were having relationship issues. Others, empty nest syndrome. Retirement was coming up and they were feeling depressed and anxious. And I said, their wellness is in question. It's not just their physical well-being, but there's other things going on with their mind and their spirit. So that's when PraiseWorks Health and Wellness was born. And basically, Praiseworks Health and Wellness is an organization that provides coaching services and education on how to be well in your mind, body, and spirit through holistic practices, fitness, nutrition, and spiritual renewal. And it's a combination of all those things, I think, that we all need to be thinking about as we age, especially, and also a combination of those things that we want to be thinking about when we are trying to get past the rigors of stress and anxiety.
Wow, that number 40 seems to be like a milestone in a woman's life, because many of us still have young children, right? Children who go to school, children who are teenagers. Some of us have children who are already big, but it seems to be like once we turn 40 and we start approaching that premenopause and menopause, things start changing in our bodies, and we start all of a sudden realizing that, okay, the life will now be different. Kids are growing up, kids are off to school, kids, and now what do we do? Like, what do I do for the rest of my life, right? And it's this huge conversation that could really spike some anxiety and some stress and some of that. So for many women, it's not only biological changes, but it's also our mental changes, right? Like we start thinking about the rest of our lives. And I know that you help women with both. You help women with weight loss, you help women with healing through nutrition, you help women with all that premenopausal and menopausal trouble that we go through. You help women with personal development, how to keep your mind clear and nice and happy. You help women with aging gracefully, so how to look gorgeous through it all. And you also help them remove stress that comes with it and increase joy. And that's where I want to stop, and I want to ask you, how do you do that?
Well, it's a combination of things, and there's all kinds of different tips and techniques that I share with my clients and on my broadcast, my magazine, and everything else. There's so many different ways. But the first thing I think is really to work on enhancing your self-care. Yeah. And by self-care, I don't necessarily mean, making sure your nails are done and your hair is done and your makeup's done. That's great. But it's so much more than that. And I think that a lot of times women kind of put their self-care on the back burner, thinking that they'll do some of the things they want to do for themselves later. And then when it later comes, let's say, if later ever does come, later comes, and you reach back there to look for yourself, and you're so far back on the burner, you feel a sense of frustration because you don't even know where to start. And so what happens sometimes is you don't do it at all. So what I try to do is encourage women to do things incrementally, small steps, small lifestyle changes to help enhance their overall self-care. One of the number one things, first of all, and it may sound very obvious, but it's something that we do not do enough. We are a nation of non-breathers. We don't breathe. We don't. We are always holding our breath, waiting for the next thing to happen that we're going to try to control. We're always thinking about controlling the outcome. And a need to control the outcome has its root deeply held in the feelings of anxiety. When you're feeling anxious, it's usually because you're trying to control something that can't be controlled. The reality is we really don't have much control over anything except for what we might think. We have control over ourselves. But we are a society that's always thinking about the future, thinking about the past. But that presence, we're usually checked out because we're, all around here and not in the center. So if you can stay present and then work on breathing, deep breathing, allowing yourself to breathe instead of holding your breath for the outcome, because if you're no longer thinking about the outcome, you'll find yourself not holding your breath as much, but you have to consciously make that decision to breathe more, to stay present and focus on what's going on right now in that present moment. Instead of what's going to be happening next, because it's nice to plan for the future, but as we all are experiencing right now, you never know what's going to happen. You can plan, you can set expectations, goals, intentions, prayers, all of that, but there's a large portion of that you cannot predict. So therefore, spending a lot of energy trying to control an outcome that you can't predict is kind of wasted energy. Why not take some of that energy in terms that you use to control the outcome and put it more towards the presence and really stay present on what you're doing and engaged in what you're doing, and not so much about what's going to happen 10 minutes from now, 5 minutes from now, 1 minute from now, but staying present.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I think is really important, and it's another basic, but it's one that we as women don't do enough of, is sleep. Most of us are sleep deprived. And I'll tell you what happens. And for those of you who have some familiarity with computers, and even if you don't have any familiarity with computers, I'm sure you've heard this term before about deleting cookies, cleaning your drives, doing the necessary maintenance for, your computer so that it will run smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
You may have had the experience that if you haven't shut your computer down a couple of days, it's very sluggish. It'll still run, but it's not running to optimum. So you say, oh, you know what? I need to shut down and maybe do what's necessary to clear the cookies, temporary files, and things like that. Well, when you're sleeping, that's your body's opportunity to shut all the way down, to get into a deep sleep and to allow your body to heal and regroup. We need that shutdown. If you are only sleeping like 3 to 4 hours a day and you're going to bed late at night, like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, you have already missed a great opportunity in terms of getting into a deep sleep, because most deep sleep occurs in most bodies between about 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. If you're going to bed at 11 or 12, your chances of your body getting a 2 to 3 hour deep sleep decreases significantly. And as a result, the shutdown that's necessary for your organs to, repair themselves, for the blood flow to go down, for the immune system to repair itself, cells to regenerate, which has everything to do with aging, that begins to lessen. And that's why when you wake up in the morning, you're feeling a little sluggish. Yes, you're sleep deprived, but your body didn't shut down all the way. And so as a result, just like with the computer, you're still operating, but not to optimum. Sleep goes a long way in terms of repairing our immune system, slowing the aging process, helping us to think more clearly, and also it helps to protect our bodies from chronic disease and other things that can happen, so that you can sleep to replenish the blood that's going to all the organs, which help to nourish them so that they can fight off all the stuff that we introduce to it every day in terms of, germs and chronic disease and viruses. So it's really important that we do that. And then there's another basic that I talk about all the time in terms of stress, and that is protecting our immune systems. When we are stressed out, and we're going to face stress, we definitely are, we want to make sure that we are eating with nutritive value in mind. Our food is really our medicine. Food is not really just for entertainment and for feeling good and emotional eating and all of that. But be careful about that. But if you can eat food that is high in nutritive value and not just caloric value, it goes a long way in helping to, repair your brain, your organs, and all the things that you need to go. When you're not eating good food, fresh, hopefully not too prepared in terms of a lot of baking, sauteing, frying, not a lot of salt in it, all the stuff, the preservatives, additives, things like that. But fresh food, your body loves that. And you will find when you're eating organically, if you can, or fresh foods, that your weight gain is less, you feel less sluggish, and you have a tendency to not feel as stressed because your body's getting a chance to have good nutrition. One other thing that I think is really important when it comes to managing your stress is meditation. Meditation has a great benefit, many, many benefits, but one of them is that it helps to lower the cortisol in your system that comes as a result of being under constant stress. As we age, we get a thickening agent. The cortisol is our thickening agent as we age. And if we are not sleeping as well, and doing the day-to-day stresses, and being mid-age, getting ready to be premenopausal or menopausal, you're getting a double, triple whammy of cortisol. And one of the best ways to reduce that is to stop and meditate. I advise my clients to do something called 3x3, if they've never meditated before. 3 minutes a day, 3 times a day. You just shut down, Close your eyes. You can do guided imagery. You can do visualization. You could do a mantra. You can listen to calming music, but it's a mini shutdown to help you just get centered, to get present, and to calm down and lower that cortisol. Doing meditation on a regular basis can help you deal with stress, anxiety, and you might even lose a few inches and pounds as a result.
Oh my gosh. So let's recap, because this was such a grateful information. So you said breathe. You said stay in the now. Do not worry about future and do not obsess about the past, because we never know what's going to happen. We cannot control it. Stay in the now. Then you said sleep enough, get enough deep sleep, eat nutritious food, and meditate. Did I miss anything?
Yes, you did. I have one bonus thing also. Well, there's so many things. But one thing in particular that's very, very helpful. We have to have somewhere for the stresses to go, the things that are having us all upset. Of course, exercise is an obvious one. And one of the reasons why exercise is so great is it gets the happy hormones going. Yeah. What happens is you start moving, and then the pituitary gland and the adrenals and all the thyroid, all the glands in our body that helps us secrete hormones say, whoa, we're moving. Time to turn down the cortisol, which comes with stress, and turn up the endorphins, the happy hormones. So when you work out, you begin to feel happier. You begin to feel a little bit more joy. It can be exhilarating. The body gets addicted to that if you do it on a regular basis. If you can, 30 minutes a day, or 3 by 10 minutes a day, 3 times a day. After a while, your body will start looking forward to the exercise. And even just thinking about the idea of exercising will begin to change how you're feeling in your body. There's cortisol levels lower and the stress level goes. But the other thing to do to get some of that stress out is journaling. Journaling is so important. It gives a place for those thoughts and feelings to go. You can journal about what happened to you during the day. You can do gratitude journaling. I have 3 different journals. I have one for gratitude. I have another one for manifestation, and another one for just my daily get it out stuff, Gratitude is very important when it comes to managing stress, because I truly believe that what you think about, what you focus on, what you ponder on truly does come to pass. So if you're writing down 3 things a day that you're grateful for every day, you begin looking for the things you're going to work on or that you're going to write about. And it's amazing how all of a sudden more gratitude stuff starts coming to you. You're like, oh, wow, I'm grateful for that. And these are things that maybe have always been in your life that you've never taken time to acknowledge. Or these are things that all of a sudden start popping up. Because what you're thinking about, your energy changes. You're attracting something different to you. And of course, that's a whole nother conversation about our energies and how they impact us. But journaling is one way to try to change the trajectory of your negative thoughts, which can also cause you stress and also cause you anxiety.
There's also a thing I heard that, let me just reach out for it. When you take a pen and you start writing it, that pen is like the antenna to the universe, and it sends the signal to the universe.
Oh, I love that.
And downloads what you want. So it's exactly.
Oh, I love that. That's why it's so important to guard your words and your thoughts. And it takes practice, but you can do it. What I do is I try to start my day in a positive way. And it's a whole method that I use. In fact, I teach a class on starting your day in a positive way. And it involves things that where you are engaging your mind, your body, and your spirit. When you first wake up in the morning, you drink water, maybe laced with lime or lemon. Lime is great for electrolytes because it removes the gray fog. You read something inspirational, uplifting, whether it's scripture or affirmation, or maybe one of your favorite books or poems. You listen to music in its tonal qualities, the notes and things. There's special music that you can listen to with certain megahertz on YouTube or wherever you find it. And it helps to raise your vibration or raise your overall feeling of well-being. You want to make sure that you eat something, not necessarily something from the SAD diet, the standard American diet. It doesn't have to be something heavy, but fruit, maybe a white the white egg omelets or something like that, with vegetables in it, or maybe a smoothie. That's what I drink every morning, a smoothie, or maybe yogurt with blueberries in it. Something healthy that gives you energy and even sustains you during that point in the day where your blood sugar level has a tendency to go down. And you incorporate movement, whether it's a walk around the block or doing your yoga or dancing like no one's watching, whatever that is. You get yourself in a energetic zen, if that makes sense. And that's how you start your day. Because many times how you start your day is going to dictate how the rest of your day is going to go. I can remember when I was in my 40s, oh my God, 20-something years ago, and I was, raising my kids and taking them to work. And, it was just nonstop. And then I would get into work, and that was nonstop. Then I would get home, and I wouldn't even take off my jacket or my heels. I would be in my jacket and my heels for at least a good 3 hours after homework, because I was fixing breakfast, doing homework, running baths, fixing hair, washing clothes, reading stories, getting them dressed for bed, and putting them in bed. And I was not a single mom. I had a husband. We were both like that. And that's one of the reasons why, 20 years later, I'm waking up and can't stop crying. It was too much. I didn't give myself that self-care and self-love that I really needed. And I have to say that if I had not walked away at 51, 11 years ago from corporate America, I probably would be a very different person than I am today. And I'm not advocating that everybody do that, but I am advocating that you listen to your body. Listen and find out what's going on with your body, your thoughts. They are all screaming and yelling at you to do something different. We get those little teeny pains. You think, oh, that's nothing. No, that's something. And you want to take the time to check in with yourself. And many times, if you take the time to check in with yourself, it will come up what it is you need to do to be well.
So very true. What I also find working very well for me is rituals, or like habits that I have, that I created, that work for me, and I just repeat them, and it takes away the thinking. Like, for example, like you said, morning, like first thing, water with lemon, next thing yoga, next thing shower, next thing makeup, next thing food, and all that. And it's like I don't have to think about it in the morning. And then the same when I get to work, first thing emails, next thing this. And it's like this ritualistic way of living that many find boring, but to me it's what's the word I'm looking for? Well, it just helps speed up the process. Like I'm saving a lot of time and I'm alleviating a lot of stress by having these in place. It's almost like, knowing what's coming next and not having to think about it. What would you say about that? Do you have the same experience, or?
Well, I do have rituals. I have a whole ritual the first part of my day that takes about 2.5 hours before I even start my day. And I always write down at the end of my day what it is I'm going to do for the next day. And I keep that next to me. That's my work journal. And I mark things off as I get to them. And if I don't get to something, then I draw an arrow that means that I'm going to take a look at it for the next day. I've learned, though, that if I start having pages full of arrows, I need to stop and take stock, because maybe those things aren't as important as I'm thinking that they are. Maybe I'm imposing too much stress on myself to try to get stuff done. So it clues me in that, okay, wait a minute, how important is this ultimately? Because this arrow has been here for this particular item for 3 days. Maybe it's not really something that you need to do, and take it off your list so you can feel less pressure. Also, I've been working from home for 15 years. And I know a lot of people now, depending on when this is airing, may still be working from home. And I've created a webinar to talk about this and how to work at home and maintain your wellness, because it is a skill. Not everybody has done it before. And one of the things that really causes anxiety is the whole idea of moving away from the computer. Because the thought is, I don't want my boss or my coworkers or my team to think that I'm not working. So I'm just going to stay there, like maybe run to the bathroom real quick and come back. But I have to tell you that is probably the most inefficient way to work from home. And if you really want to minimize your stress, you want to take your breaks. You want to take your lunch. In fact, maybe even more often, because you do have the ability to do that. All you do is just over communicate and let people know what's going on with you. And most people are fine with that. And you'll find that you'll be more productive at home the more breaks you take. Instead of trying to, work 4 hours and take a break. No, you need to give yourself some time to back away from that, maybe do something else. Give your brain a break, re-energize your brain, go outside, get some fresh air, come back and drink something that, can help your brain rejuvenate itself. I like to have a cup of coffee in the morning, then, green tea during the afternoon, maybe a piece of dark chocolate right before I go home or right before I end, a little bit more energy. But the whole thing is to be kinder to ourselves, be more gracious to ourselves. And if you forget to do these things, put things where you can see them. Like I have things on my walls. You can't see all of it, but you can see some of it. I think, I can't see that on that side. That reminds me of certain things that I will forget to do. And it's not things to do, but it reminds me about who the universe says I am. I have my affirmations, I'm loving, I am focused, I'm obedient. I read these affirmations every single day about who I am. And then I have, my scripture and other quotes and things to remind me of who I want to be or what I'm working on from a positive way, not from a punitive way. So that when you start getting down on yourself because you feel like you're not achieving and all that kind of stuff, all that negative self-talk causes stress, causes anxiety. So when you start doing that, start reading your walls or wherever your post-it notes or whatever to remind yourself that you're human, that perfection is not attainable and therefore should not be a goal. You do the best that you can and then you let it go and move on to the next thing. And just doing the things that you need to do, like acknowledging and rewarding yourself when you do things that are well, when you accomplish a task or a goal, all those kinds of things. Self-care really helps to lower that stress level and those feelings of anxiety.
Yes, absolutely. And we're back to self-care. So I want to ask you, what's radiant beauty to you and how does it tie back to your business?
Radiant beauty to me is basically working on the inner beauty out. I think that many times we have a lot of people, a lot of women who are walking wounded. They never peel back the layers to deal with their hurts, their unforgiveness, their angers, their fears, their frustrations, their trauma. And we need to do that. I know it's a daunting task, but it's just like peeling an onion. You peel one layer back at a time and you deal with that layer and, basically addressing those emotional needs. Because what happens is that if you don't, no matter how beautiful you are on the outside, as you age, that begins to radiate out. And over time, you either begin to start looking your age or you're older. So for me, radiant beauty is continually working on my inner self, continually working on the things that I know I need to work on in order to be well. Addressing my hurts, addressing any unforgiveness that I have, learning to let go on certain situations that I just cannot control, and basically being kind to myself and being gracious and looking for your value, your confirmation, your affirmation, your validation, that comes from within. Yeah. Not trusting it with other people because people change, they have different priorities. Sometimes I don't even know when they're hurting your feelings or when they're letting you down. But learning how to validate yourself and feel good about who you are right now in this moment in time, that is the epitome to me of self-care and self-love and ultimately accumulates to what I think is vibrancy and radiance.
Radiant beauty. I like how you said you either look your age or older. Because the goal with the whole radiant beauty is not to get as many injections or as many, Botox so that you look younger. The point is to wear who we are proudly. And like you said, work on the inside, heal, and shine that radiant beauty through, right?
Awesome.
So it's all like a very balanced and like coherent picture.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it differently. Hopefully
Absolutely.
the ladies get it. Hopefully you get
Well,
it.
and I'm glad you mentioned the thing about plastic surgery. I'm not really anti-plastic surgery. It's just something I know personally I will never do.
Mm,
I've been taking care of myself now for the last 11 years, but even before that, I was careful about, what I ate and stuff like that. But, some of it's genetics, and you just can't help that. So ultimately, loving yourself the way you are right now, the way you look right now, is so key, because there's no plastic surgery that's going to change about the way you feel about yourself from the inside.
yes.
They don't go inside and change your thought pattern. They change the outside. I know you've heard of women who, for instance, get surgery to reduce their size. They get their tummy tucks and things like that. And there's something that doctors call, this is not the medical term for it, but it's basically the fat girl syndrome. The person still looks slim, but they still think like they're not. There's a disconnect, because they haven't dealt with what got them there in the first place. Not everybody has a glandular problem. People eat because of some other kind of thing that's going on. There's a lot of emotional eating in our society. So just getting the surgery to make you look better doesn't address what got you there in the first place. That's why it's so important to be willing to do the work. And sometimes that work seems daunting, but I can tell you from my experience, I feel so much better now than I did 11 years ago. And I've been told, and I don't know if it's true or not, I can't tell. I look at myself all the day. I see the age that's coming, I see it. But I think the reason why people think I look younger than I did back then is because of the radiance that comes out. I feel better on the inside. And so that shows on the outside.
Yes. Thank you so much for beautiful and very wise words that you shared with us today. I know you have a special gift for our audience. So what is that?
Well, they can go to the link there on the show page, and it's at praiseworks.biz/free-stuff, I think it is. And on that page are all kinds of downloads. I have 21 tips to distress the mess. I have an Eating the Rainbow, which is basically recipes that involve all kinds of veggies and fruits and things like that. Then I have a green smoothie recipe book there. And I also have a free subscription to the Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond newsletter. And also on that page is the Hope Calendar. The Hope Calendar is actually honoring our purpose every day. And so for every day on that calendar, there is something that you can do to honor your purpose. And by purpose, I mean honoring the things that you need to do to keep your mind, body, and spirit well. So there's all kinds of things on that calendar that you can do every day. And the challenge is, after doing each one of those things and trying them every day, to select those things that you would like to incorporate into your daily lifestyle to help you to hope, which is honor our purpose every day, keeping our mind, body, and spirit well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lynnis, so much for coming on the show, helping our ladies to feel beautiful and attractive and eliminate all the stress and just be the gorgeous human beings that we are. Thank you so much for supporting with that. And ladies, for you, I have a special treat tomorrow. So don't forget to log back in. We are going to have another amazing speaker, another amazing interview lined up for you. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you soon.